It's time to talk about the spot market and trucking and all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned right after this. Check 1, 2. Hey, good morning. It's Friday, November 3rd. We're into November. And we've only got 2 months left of the year. It's going to be. I saw a great meme yesterday. It was like Christmas, and it had all of November circled except for Thanksgiving, and it showed Thanksgiving for like 3 days, and then the rest of December, Christmas. So I hope you got your Christmas shopping done early because, well, it's just easier that way. Anyways, good morning. I hope all is well. Looking at some loads this morning. I'm not impressed, but I am impressed with volumes. So there's that. But anyways, I got a lot of I've got a lot of comments on my video Wednesday morning. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check that out. A lot of people were like, dude, you were on fire. You know, you're speaking a lot of truth, and you're going to say the things that people don't want to hear, and I don't know about all that, right? I think I'm just tired of people destroying their lives over something that's not working, and I want to change that. I want to be able to, you know what, help you help yourself. Not that I have all the answers, but a bunch of you are definitely digging holes that you won't be able to get out of if you don't fix something. So, yeah, whatever. What do I know? I'm just a jackwagon that sits at home and books loads. So, but anyways, good morning. I hope all is well. It's warmed up here in Missouri, so that's good. I got I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. Really, like, do you guys really care? Got my morning coffee. Hope you have your morning coffee. I found this cream, this heavy whipping cream. I know this is really riveting, right? I found this cream that doesn't have any of that gelling gum or Carrageenan stuff because that stuff breaks my face out. And it's expensive. It doesn't last long. Like it will spoil quickly, but I love it. So I've got that in the coffee. I know Pale Rider is going to be angry, but he'll get over it. So, oh, and My phone just said my fast goal has just been reached. Cool. I didn't eat dinner last night, so I'm kind of cranky. So anyways, um, there's a lot going on. If you don't know, if you're in the spot market, it's there's many challenges, right? But what I'm seeing, the majority of challenges is from the driver themselves. Not, I mean, yeah, the market is weird. It's down. Had a really great long conversation with Provost. Provost Motorsports. Go check out his channel. I consider him a good friend. He's always looked out for me, and has never asked anything from me. And the last time I got to hang out with him I did a run to Florida. It was when my fuel pump went out. Um, we were hanging out in the same truck stop. He was running the Amazon stuff at the time that was lucrative at that point, and he's got one of the Globetrotter Volvos, and man, that truck's nice, and if I was to be OTR, that'd be the truck I'd want because it was very comfortable, very clean inside. We just hung out, and we hung out for many hours at the truck shows. We were at the Dallas Truck Show. He's just a good dude who wants to help and mentor people that may not have the business savvy that he does. And that's the kind of people that you want to be friends with. That's the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. And if you're always like constantly talking bad about people, or if you're constantly attacking people, or you're very confrontational, you're not going to get good friends like that. And so the people that you hang out with is going to bring you down. And or they could lift you up. I've got some really good friends in my circle, and for that I'm eternally grateful. And so for those of you watching that I consider my friends, thank you very much. So um what we'll get some comments here. We've had a pretty good week dispatch wise. Um Good solid number, which is going to be sustainable, you know, and that will help because the more successful the drivers are, the more successful I can be. That's how it works. If I don't do well for you, I don't do well for me. That's how my percentage works. So, Gen Z, which app do you use? I use Zero, which has a lot of features that you have to pay for, but I've got the free version, and it's okay. It's got some really good articles. I use Thomas Delore recommended it, so I downloaded it. I was like, oh, this is cool because some of the fasting tracking apps, they have a lot of spyware on them and stuff. You got to be careful. So I had one that was on the phone that made the phone do weird things. Odd moments it would just light up, and I'm like, I got to get that off here. So, but it's been a good app. So, but all right, let's do some shout outs, and then we'll get on the low board, and we're gonna look at something that now. Well, let me get to shout outs first. I get ahead of myself. My mind's going faster than my mouth and brain can work, or that does. See, I'm an idiot. So, all right. so, um, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So unprofessional. I know unprofessional. I've never claimed to be a professional. WCF Invader, yes. Don Shonger, good morning. Southbound Packnerm, what's up? Fate Truck and Boom, freight is on fire. Flatbed Trucker, it should be for you guys. Flatbed Trucker, what's up? WCF says the man with the plan thought for a moment he forgot about us. Thank goodness the UAW strike is over. A certain run has returned for myself. Much relief and excitement here. Good deal. More than anybody know why fuel is going up? Because they can. That's just it. No, to be honest with you, fuel usually goes up this time of year because demand goes up, and They know people have to travel for the holidays. Starting, everybody thinks of Thanksgiving being the last, you know, or second to last week of the month, right? But what a lot of people will do is if you got extended family or, two or three different families, and I know some of you truck drivers have that. Thanksgiving travel usually starts about, well, the beginning of November. We're going to go to our family in Ohio. We're going to go to our family in Washington State, and and have Thanksgiving there, and then we'll have Thanksgiving with mom over in Florida. That kind of thing. And so there's a lot of traveling going on this year. Now, I've had a couple of people tell me that the truck stops have been fairly empty later. So maybe that means some trucks are thinning out. There is a lot of hearsay. No one's been able to give me a good source, but there's been a lot of hearsay of authorities shutting down and small trucking companies closing business. But no one can give me a good source. It's all hearsay. But the hearsay is from people that have talked to their insurance adjuster, people have talked to their factoring companies. So it's the herd is thinning out. So that's going to change the dynamics of things, and that's usually what happens in a down market. Is it becomes unsustainable. A lot of people go out of business that don't have business being in business, and um, then capacity comes gets into our favor, and then it's a little bit easier to book a load, and then rates go up a little bit. That's usually the cycle. This down cycle that we've been in is longer than what I've experienced before. But as Provost and I were talking about yesterday, he goes to me, Steve, how many times have we had this conversation? We've had this conversation. We've dealt with this together for three times, and it's true. And I'll count a fourth time when I was at Landstar. There was a mini recession um, that I dealt with at Landstar, and and by only by God's grace did I survive that one because I had my head up my butt. So, and he was sitting there like, dude, hey, I'm going to put some people in your life that are going to fix things. And that's what he did. So just, just know that's why you got to surround yourself with good people. So, Buck Brown, bah, humbug. But hi, guys. Lance Calhoun was one of your better videos. Talk about the Wednesday video. Thank you. Thank you for your membership as well. I don't know what inspired it. Really, it's really weird. Sometimes I approach a morning live feed with an agenda, like okay, this is what I'm going to talk about today, and then it just goes horribly wrong. Like you've got this grand picture that you want to paint, and you're like, look at this stick figure. That's how I feel, right? But then when I literally get behind the mic, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. I guess I'll just shut the low board. And then all of a sudden, something just hits my head before, because here's the pattern. I come in, I say a bunch of bull, and then my music plays for a couple of minutes to let everybody kind of filter in, and then I say some dumb speech, and I do the shout outs, and then I go to the low board. That seems to be my pattern. It seems to work. And but Wednesday, I guess I hit some nerves. A bunch of trolls came in on the replay, and or it was one guy with 4 troll accounts, but I mean, and that's funny, but and I'm sure my mods, did you know as moderators you can take care of comments after the fact, after a live feed? So just, my mods took care of it, but here a lot of people can't handle the truth, and they refuse the truth, even though they could see that it's actively destroying themselves, kind of like a drug addict. You got people out, with have you guys heard of Trank, where these people are injecting themselves with drugs and their skin is literally rotting off. Like there's healthcare workers that go like off of Kensington Avenue and try to treat these people's wounds, and they're still doing it. there's something in human nature that's causing people to do that, and it's causing people to not see the damage that they're doing to themselves. And that's human nature. I think we all go through that. I've gone through that. Not the drug thing, but I've struggled with alcohol in the past. I've struggled with my pride in the past. I've had my ego kick me in the ass, and so it's human nature, and to have relationships with truck drivers, friendships with truck drivers, and a business relationship with truck drivers, you have to know a little bit about human nature. And once you can kind of evaluate the human nature of things, then you can kind of get to the core of the problem. And what you'll find is pride, ego, arrogance, and greed are the roots of a lot of problems. So that's the truth that a lot of people, like, just doing your numbers will set you free. And a lot of people won't even do their numbers because they're afraid of the truth. They're afraid that, you know what, this isn't a good idea. But they can't handle that truth because either it's all they know, or I've been very blessed. I know the trucking industry quite a bit. I grew up in it with my dad being a driver, but I also took the first 20, 30 years of my life and try to get other skills before I decided to become a truck driver. And that has helped. I can go weld if I wanted to. Well, that's about the only skill I have. I have some auto body skills, but I think they're antiquated because all they do is replace panels and charge you a ton of money to paint it. But one of the best jobs I ever had was being a school bus driver, because what I found was it taught me a lot about human emotions. And children, they will they can get under your skin, and if they see weakness, man, they're going to take advantage. We had some bus drivers that, man, the kids walked all over, and I could tell you some stories, but generally my career as a school bus driver was pretty cool. Money was the only reason why I left, and now they're paying well again. So I mean, but I learned a lot about human nature doing that job, and I learned a lot about human nature with the coworkers I had, which half of them were jaded old truck drivers just trying to get the health benefits, and so my dad was a jaded old truck driver. The guy that trained me was kind of a jaded old truck driver, you know? And so I know the old school, but I also understand the new school, which is what made me a good trainer at the company I was with. And so I try to, and I've been doing self dispatch since, I mean, I've never had a dispatcher as far as like, as long as I've been an owner operator. And, I started at Landstar, went to Schneider Choice, and then over here at Like Trucking, I've always been selecting my loads. And I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. Almost everything I've learned is the hard way. But if you surround yourself with good people, they're going to tell you their hard lessons that they had, and you can learn from there. Like, for example, hauling a certain product. It's always funny when a driver calls me, dude, I got this great load. What'd you get? Pumpkins? He's like, what are you laughing at? You'll see. I think I heard about that load for the entire week. That driver and I talk almost every day. And it was definitely interesting. And, and he goes, how did you know all that? I've never hauled pumpkins, but I've heard the stories. So I avoided that. And usually people that haul pumpkins, it's because they found that great, awesome paying load going to New Mexico and realized that they can't get out, which wasn't the case with this driver, but that's usually when I get that phone call. So Just little things like that. I pay attention. I pay attention to trends. I pay attention to the news. I pay attention to freight waves. I pay attention to DAT trend lines. I'm not like obsessing over the information. And most of the time, this information is reflecting what I'm already seeing. It at least gives me a couple of answers. And then I have years of notebooks telling me what happened at what time, when my revenue was the best, when it was the worst, when fuel went up, that kind of thing. And at the end of the day, all that minutia doesn't matter. It's your drive. It's your willingness to change, right? You might all have a drive to succeed. You might have a sacrifice or the will to sacrifice, but you're sacrificing the wrong things. The will to succeed has to be, if this isn't working, I need to change it. Because it's easy to go, wow, I'm broke. Oh, look at TQL with their $1.40 mile loads. It's their fault. And you continue to do that, or you sit for days on end at a truck stop because you can't find the load. How do I know that? I was there. I've been there. I've done that. And so I look at that as it's a human nature. It's a human emotion, right? And at least I had the gumption to go, you know what? This isn't working. I need to change. And that's when I went to Schneider, thanks to my conversations and friendship with Jeffrey Light. But had I not done that and just did the whole victim mentality, blame the Landstar agents, if that had a tighter grip on me, I would have never have thought of that. Or if I was too proud to go pull an orange trailer, dang mega carriers, that kind of thing. But I didn't, so I improved my business, got the truck that you saw behind me, made an improvement there, and then things went very well after that. Now, did I still make mistakes? Yes. Did I still have trouble tracking my numbers? Yes. But once I kind of lined everything out, you know, now do I still have animosity towards Landstar agents? Absolutely, but it's in a different way. So, and it's partially because of their system, and partially because I didn't like their system, and partially I didn't understand their system. It's kind of like, firearms, right? Most people that hate that stuff, it's because they don't understand it. They're afraid because they don't understand. Once you make people understand, then they're kind of onto it, right? They're kind of like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And that's how this all is. And once you come in the spot market, you have to understand. And so if you find yourself, this is important. This is gonna cut a couple of nerves. If you hate talking to brokers, if you think they're taking too much money, why are you 100% in the spot market where you're relying on 100% brokers? Because it is not the only platform to make money with. And you might jump from the spot to contract, and then from contract to a mega carrier, then mega carrier back to spot, and then you're going to try this spot company, and then you're going to try this spot company, and then you're going to try this spot company. And what you're going to find is maybe the problem isn't the spot market. Maybe the problem isn't the companies that you're choosing. Maybe the problem is you. And that's the truth that most people can't accept. And those are the things that tick people off, and people give me the thumbs down and troll me or whatever. So 90% of your problems are you. You see it on YouTube. You see it on Facebook. But we all want to do blame shifting, and blame shifting is not going to help you. Shift the blame to you. Now you can kind of attack in there. So, Buck Brown, I've noticed over the last 30 plus years that fuel tends to always go up ahead of the holidays. Yes, verifying what I've said. Good morning from Punta Gorda, Florida, in nice 68 degrees. It got up to like 60 yesterday. It was pretty nice. The wife, kid, and I went on a walk. It was good. Scorpion Trucker, good morning, everyone from Maine. Great to sleep in today. Picking up a load later this morning, making the turn, heading back to AZ. Thank you, Rig Runner. Yep, Scorpion has made a pretty good amount of money here. Which app to use for fasting? Okay, I already answered that. Jackknife, good morning. From Manass, Virginia. What a very strange name. That's where my truck blew up on Valentine's Day. Josh, what's up? Gen Z, yeah, truck stops are bare. Check freight waves for closed authorities. They just did a segment yesterday, I think. Okay, cool. I will check it out. Cheap freight hauler, good morning. Life's been kicking mine lately. That sucks, Buck Brown. Been there, done that. I look forward the brokers that can't be factored. They always pay the most money, or at least they say they will. So let me. So the DAT board went down yesterday. And yes, I do promote the 123 low board, but I also use the DAT board. It's good to have multiple tools, right? Because when one low board goes down, you go to another. And when the DAT came back, and it became worthless because where I was looking for a load out of, these brokers popped up that had no credit score. They had like a 60 credit score or a 70 credit score, which obviously we can't use because that's because of our factoring company. And they had, out of 100 loads, they had probably 80 of them. It was so many multiple postings. It was like it just went to crap, and I couldn't sort through it. I tried the block feature, and the broker didn't even come up in the block feature. It was kind of weird. I was like, this sucks. And I ended up going to my normal people and found something on one of their low boards. So it's the system is rigged, and the system, it's like, yeah, DAT's got a lot of volume, but a big majority of that volume is no good because of that. And there's no way that this one broker has 80 loads coming out of one area for that day. This was a one-day search, a same-day search, actually. And they had great money on it. But was I about to trust that? Absolutely not. So it's buyer beware. And it's getting to the point that if I look at a load board of 500 loads, only 100 of them are probably usable. So Wimpy McPote says the truth hurts. It does. Trust me, it does. People don't like to hear the truth, Snorelord. Yep. You took it like a champ, though, yesterday or Wednesday, Jackknife. Elroy Logistics, blessed morning from New Jersey. Can't control the economy, can't control the market, got to control something. That's you and your costs, right? Scott Rolla, morning, just stopped at the Apple there in Joplin. That truck stop's going downhill pretty fast. I love the parking lot, and I love the fact that it's like a rock. I could throw a rock and hit the shipper I used to go to all the time. But man, I think they're having staffing issues. So, because bathrooms especially, but LOL, because I know the true story. I just push forward and hoping things get better. Who uses low boards anyways? Well, I've been accused of lying that I don't use low boards, but there's that. DIY Semi, another person I've that's helped me through the day and has never asked me for anything. Yes, Joplin. I love the parking lot, and you can usually find parking there late at night as well. But I've got quite a few hiding places in Joplin if that truck stop's ever full, which it's never. And then the Joplin Petro. I mean, you might have to park 3 miles away, but they're always parking at that truck stop. So let's see here. All right, so let's take a look at. I know I promote the 123 low board, but let's look at DAT load ratios. Look at that. All right. Oh, there's 3 loads going into Alaska. So there's that. Um, no 4-digit numbers. Oh, here we go. Ohio, 811 in, 1035 out. Oklahoma, no good. PA, 937 in, 1016 out. And I have noticed it's been a little bit easier to get a better rate out of PA. You just got to hold the line a little bit. And when I say hold the line, I mean make the 30 phone calls to find the rate that you're looking for versus just grabbing the first thing that comes up, unless you're needing to go somewhere specific. Look at Texas. Texas is lopsided. They're not paying to go in or out of Texas. So Texas has been a black hole. It's been a no zone. With my own truck, I used to utilize Texas a lot. We had a few drivers that did. We have Texas intrastate, and for a small carrier, that's kind of a big feat. Jeff paid the extra money and got it. But none of us have really utilized it because it's just in the crapper. In your usual states like Missouri, 452 in, 445 out. That's interesting, and I've noticed that with the rates. That means they have leverage. Indiana's even. Illinois is 589 in, 1180 out. So, but you have computers that know this stuff, and that's how a lot of them do their pricing. And so, therefore, guess what? If they know that you're going to make your money coming out of Illinois, they're not going to pay you to go into Illinois. So that's why if you're in Pennsylvania, you're going to get a better paying load to Florida than you will to go into Illinois, even though because Illinois is a better market to come out of than Florida. And that's the market that's the market detail that you really have to understand. The trick, the ace in the hole, is to have a great paying load out of a dead area. So you get it going in and you get it coming out. So someday I may call upon you for a favor. I'm going to ask you to meet a man. He's going to get you a package. Very important not to ask any questions. Anybody know if the people of Wisconsin use charcoal for heat? I don't know. Cheap freight hauler, that's more, man. That's more Minnesota and Dakotas. The Hutterites use it. Trying to figure out why a grocery store needs 50 pallets of charcoal in November. Hopefully this load is not screwed up. 50 pallets for one grocery store? I don't know. That's not too bad. I used to haul I did a full week of hauling charcoal to Harp's grocery store distributor in Arkansas, which the Harp's grocery stores are kind of a high-end grocery store, and the DC was literally 2 docks. I mean, it wasn't big at all. I live in South Texas. It's rough right now. I bet, Daniel. Pigtail, good morning. Mark P, why is PA the most part always seem why is PA for the most part always seems decent to go into PA? Because you have fuel and toll costs that go up. So it's you have to encourage the drivers to go up there. And so, it's funny, you can rack up $400 worth of tolls in one trip. And so they're always paying more to go into Pennsylvania, and then it's always you're taking a hit out. And so you have a choice. You can either deadhead out and not protect the profit that you just made and still pay the tolls, or you can grab one of the crappy loads into Ohio, and then from Ohio you should be able to get a decent rate going into decent areas. So, but it's the tolls, and that's one of the things I like about 123 low board, and I'll show you guys here. Let's see, share screen. You think I'd know how to do this by now, but I don't. All right, so here's the 123 low board. So let's do rate check. Hold on, the cat needs me. I don't know how these cats survived while I was in the truck. All right, so let's do New Stanton, Pennsylvania, to Reading, Pennsylvania. Reading number 3 PA. That's a weird name. All right, hit get rate. 230 miles, 307 a mile is the average. This is like the DAT rate check, so but look at this. Estimated fuel cost is $182. Estimated toll cost is $288.80. Now, that's full weight. So imagine if you are so if you were to do this load, line haul revenue is $708. Your toll cost, after your toll costs and fuel costs, which that's low for fuel because they're always way above the average, you're looking at estimated revenue of $236.92. Can your business survive off of $236.92 a day? That's a lot of money. You're literally, that's not even half of that 708. If you can even get that 708, that's $3 a mile. I don't see a whole lot of $3 mile freight anymore, unless it's going to Miami or Denver. And even then, that's or it's got 82 stops, right? Which you're not going to get done in one day. So that's why. So Mark, that's why PA always pays well. So one of the benefits of Schneider when I went from Landstar to Schneider is they paid the tolls, except for Ohio and Indiana, on 80 there, which is fine because those are easy to avoid, and that's how they justified it. But everything else they paid for, they reimbursed you, and if you lived in Pennsylvania. Man, that was a huge benefit. If you lived up northeast, it was a huge benefit to be able to run those roads and not worry about the tolls. But then you come out in the spot market, and you realize that isn't the case. And so when you negotiate, he's like, well, it's about 200 some odd dollars in tolls, da 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 da. But they don't care. They're like, well, I'll find somebody that's not doing that math because I need to maximize my profits, right? PA is always good to go in. A lot of warehousing, manufacturing, support New York and New England states, but coming out and not so much, right? They're a consumer area. Good morning, gonna replay gang. Sterling, thank you for coming in. This is going to be a Woodman's. Oh, okay. That nobody wants to go into PA because of Pennsylvania Turnpike and all the horror stories. So yeah. CN, sorry I'm late to the party. Jeep rocking on Steve. Replay will be my jam. There you go. I'm gonna try to do another guitar live feed this weekend, maybe. I don't know. So, but use this toll calculator is great. Let's do Youngstown, Ohio. I don't know why I'm typing the whole thing. It just auto populates to. We'll do that also to Reading. We'll do that. Get rate. Oh, toll costs are only $32 from there. So look at this. Line haul revenue 844, 263 a mile. It's more miles, obviously. Fuel costs is 253. Probably again, it's probably low. So your estimated revenue for that is $559 if you get that 844. So that's a much better payday. A little bit more miles, but it's a much better rate per day, even though the rate per mile is lower. This is the number right here. This is the number that's important. Not this number. You might have a load that might net or gross $200 or $300 more, but then the net might be a little bit less because of fuel and tolls and time. That was the problem at Landstar versus Schneider. Schneider, I was 75% drop and hook. My rate per mile wasn't much different. My percentage was exactly the same. But yet I was able to fill in the gap. So I made a much better rate per day. If you're hung on rate per mile, you're never going to get yourself out of Denver. You're never going to get yourself out of Florida. You're never going to get yourself out of, Oregon. You're never going to go in and out of Texas. But the rate per day, that's what you have to look at realistically. And then the net rate per day, that's the number. That's the number that's holding your business together. That net per day. When you get that settlement, that's the number that can break you or make you. And that's the truth a lot of people don't want to hear. Scott says he picked up in Vernon, California, 5 stops, New York, and New Jersey. Bet you that's paying pretty good. Is that van? Now it's easy for me to go, well, I never go in Pennsylvania because of the tolls. But there are ways to go around the tolls. There are ways to run Pennsylvania with very little tolls. But you got to know the state. Anybody who knows who Steve Berger is, he knows his state. That's where he lives. He's mastered it. And so he knows where to go in. He knows what hits he's going to take. He knows when to take the toll hit and when not to. Knowing your area is extremely important. Or knowing the area that you run. Maybe you live in Boise, Idaho, but you run to the Midwest and you run that for a couple of weeks and then you go back home. That's why Scorpion Trucker uses me. His jam is the West. But when he needs to bounce around and make money after his big load that he gets out of Arizona, that's where I come in because he doesn't know those areas. I do. And so doing the research, when I was talking to Provost yesterday, Provost is the kind of guy that lives on the low boards as a hobby. He enjoys it. If he sees something happening in an area, like an area dropping or an area getting hot, he wants to know why. So he researches that. It's kind of like that's the kind of drive it takes to be successful in the spot market because you enjoy looking for the loads. You enjoy being on the low boards. You enjoy the chase. You enjoy the hunt. And while there's a lot of factors in there that don't make it as fun, there's still a sense of accomplishment when you book that good load. There's still a sense of accomplishment when the truck is moving, whether it be mine or yours. It's very frustrating to me when a driver holds me back from doing what I need to do, doing what they need to do. Because usually those guys don't last. They either get burned out on the spot market or they go out of business. And then the drivers that do let me throw anything at them and keep them moving, they're the ones that succeed, unless some external source like their truck goes down or something like that takes them out. So it's a tough market, but I've dealt with this before, and there are circumstances of this that makes this one of the worst ones I've dealt with. But then people that were owner ops in 2008, 2009 said, "This ain't nothing." So, and they figured it out back then. So your struggles will make you stronger. TJ, what's up? Good morning. Reefer 60 cents plus 75 a stop. 60 cents a mile? Or you might be company, right? Maryland helps me avoid some tolls in PA. Yep. Cool trucking. Good morning. Mark, I know a couple of guys who run short haul from Philly area and do very well. Yes. I mean, look, Pennsylvania, you just have to know the area. And look, I'll put a map up here. Let me give you some insight on what I notice, right? So let's go to Van on our hot market map that I love to show so much. By the way, promotional insert 48065 is my code if you want to try this for yourself. All right. So now if you have the app, it's going to show it this way. Yellow's okay, red's not great, green is you might be able to do decent, right? So density map. Okay? Your best rate coming out of these areas are either going to go down here or up here. Now notice this is all red. Okay? Massachusetts is yellow because they actually manufacture some things up there. The rest of these yahoos, all they do is like, they make canoes and plastic silverware and they hunt moose. That's all they do up here. So you have to usually get a good enough rate that you're going to deadhead out, or you're going to take your hit from maybe Mass and go into New York, upstate. And then from upstate, you can usually find an okay load to go into the Midwest, but usually your best rate out of here is going to go back down here. So if you live in Georgia, you can bounce back and forth, Georgia to Florida, and make good money. I know a couple of drivers that do that. They do very well here at like trucking, but they're hustlers. They don't rest. They know the system. They know the area. They'll take that low paying load to Florida to protect the profit from the load that went from Georgia to Florida. So they're getting 3 down and 1.5 back. And if there ain't nothing, they just go back anyways. You can do the same thing with the Northeast. You live in PA, go up to Maine. Take your hit or take the hit or deadhead back. You can go through. Now, what makes that a little bit more difficult are the tolls. So you got to really know and be selective where you're going and how are you going there. West Coast. You're going to take a hit going down California, but California, Washington, you're going to make good money. And so you can run up and down I-5 with the same approach. Right? You can go back and forth, hit, good haul, hit, good haul. Right? Now, the thing about this market that's tripping me up, used to get good money to go from Missouri to Arizona. But then Arizona, you're going to take your hit, right? Now they're not paying to go into Arizona. Same thing with Texas. I used to get good money to go from Missouri to Dallas or Houston, and then I'd take my hit. Usually I would take Dallas, take a hit up to Oklahoma back to Missouri, rinse, repeat. And that was good money. But they're not paying to go into Texas now. There's a lot of mom and pop carriers in Texas that are covering a lot of the intrastate stuff. So that stuff's kind of dried up as well. At least the good paying stuff. Because the best paying stuff has already been accepted and is not hitting the low boards, whether it's through a broker or through the shippers themselves. So that's and just learning that, recognizing that. So you can create a lane, Wisconsin, Missouri, and back, or Chicago to Springfield and back, or Chicago to Oklahoma to get the high rate, then take your hit from Oklahoma to Missouri, or make sure you're around Tulsa so you can grab the Joplin market. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. One of my favorite lanes was Missouri to Ohio and back. Decent rate both directions. Right? West Virginia is kind of a dead zone, so if you pull something heavy, man, you're struggling fuel mileage wise. It's always red. But see, what happens is because of this area being all red, it softens New York and PA and New Jersey. But you got your money going in, so your best bet is to take a hit going to Ohio and then go wherever you want for decent rate. But the way this market is, your decent quote unquote rate that everybody needs because their expenses are high is usually going down here, up here, or over here. Or here. So, and it's that simple. Where a lot of people falter is that they need to be home every weekend, which, I get that. That's how I was. But I live in a great freight area. If you live in Jacksonville and need to be home every weekend, that's going to be a problem. If you live in Bangor, Maine and need to be home every weekend, that might be manageable. But if you live in Wyoming and need to be home every weekend, that ain't going to work. And if it does, tell me how. Because I don't know everything. All I know is what works and what doesn't. Because I've seen what doesn't work over and over and over. Russell Freight Services, good morning. Scott Rolla, I drive for Freymiller. Yes, company, good. Don't ever let anybody use the term just a company driver bother you. Because I know many owner operators say, well, I guess I'll just be a company driver. Oh, you're just a company driver. You don't know what you're talking about. I know many company drivers that have more smarts than a lot of owner operators, which is probably why they're company drivers. So, good deal, man. 60 cents a mile plus the stop pay. That's good. That's good money. I do enjoy the hunt in the low board, especially when I correct these young people who have been in business for 5 years and think they know it all. Speaking the truth, Steve, says Greg Zimmer. And Greg Zimmer is one of my more successful clients. He knows what it takes, and he makes it happen. Henry Duncan, good morning. Thanks for the $5, Greg. Cool trucking. Do you miss your truck? No. There are aspects of driving I do miss, but I did not miss the ticking time bomb that was underneath that hood. So, or in that DPF system, especially in the DPF system. I run on rails on the 10 between LA and Phoenix, and it's working okay. Good deal. Mark, yeah, makes sense. These guys have been in the game a long time. Do you wish you had a truck right now? No, I don't. WCF Invader, bowing to the almighty DIY. Steve is providing wisdom today. I hope everyone is taking notes. Furthermore, if you have any driver gripe about a rate or toll, stop them and tell them to watch this episode. Well, thank you. I'm too boring for most people, so I doubt they'll watch the replay. And my numbers show it. That's just not me like beating myself up. That's what my numbers show. You know. But recognizing this, right? And again, just because it's green doesn't mean you're going to get a good rate. Let's look at Arizona. Let's see what outbound van Arizona looks like. Sort by age. These are the people posting. If you sort it by age, that's the age of the posting. And there's a lot of stuff for today. That means there's a lot of last minute stuff that gives you a little bit of leverage. I'm not saying there's a couple of things for today. Goodyear to Tulsa. Let's take a look at this one. It's got a special van air ride, reefer air ride. Okay, so 220 pounds. Aircraft parts. Cargo Chief's got it at 21. They're at 19, so you might be able to get them up to 22. I would try for 24. But if we can get them up around that mark, if it's that light, if that's truly that light, then that trip is not bad. Your net revenue after 20% is looking like 675. Again, less than half. Okay. So you got to look at your daily rate. Nothing breaking $2 a mile on the longer stuff. Okay. So if you sort this by, let's sort this by rate per mile. 224 to go to Idaho, Colorado. See what I'm seeing here? Washington, Colorado, New Mexico, California, all the stuff that the mega carriers don't want to go. Carlsbad, North Dakota, or MD. I don't know what MD is. Manitoba, is that right? I don't know. CDN can correct me. Let's take a look at that. 206 a mile to go into, or is that Mexico? Let me look here. Oh, no. Oh, Maryland. Man, I'm such an idiot. Sorry. Maryland, MD. What's MD? Northeast Maryland. So 206 a mile. That's actually not bad out of Phoenix. To be $2 a mile, but 30,000 pounds, weight's not too bad. That's enough to keep you on the ground if it gets windy, but not enough to really kill your fuel mileage 100%. So that'd be a good load, but it doesn't load till the 10th. That's next Friday. That's how far ahead they're booking. So if we sort this by rate, that gives you the long haul stuff. That Phoenix to Maryland is the top one on the list there. And they're way above, so I'm getting to wonder if it was multi-stop. Well, they're not too far above the Cargo Chief. But see, if you do rate check 39 and you see the Cargo Chief at 46, that means that they'll post these loads quite low, but then you can usually get them up on the money. Like I've literally gotten $1,000 over the 30-day for loads going into Colorado. You know, and the smart brokers will call what makes you justify $1,000 over the 30-day, and then you explain this, that, and the other, itemize it, know your numbers. And most of them are like, well, I want the guy that doesn't do that math. And that's your competition, is the people that don't do math, the people that don't know that they're going to take a huge loss on this load if they take it for the rate that they're asking for. Though that's your competition, so you got to be smarter than that. You got to be better than that. Right? Let's look at inbound Arizona. Highest paying thing going into Arizona is North Carolina, Goodyear, Arizona, 39.60. But if we do the rate per mile going into Arizona, oh, here's 377 a mile. But that's California to Arizona, which is usually your head haul state. So you can make a career going from California to Arizona and then taking your hit back to California. And so what you can do is you can go to rate check and let's do Phoenix to Los Angeles. No, we'll do Sacramento. Sacramento. Get rate. Okay, so you're looking at 752 miles, so 2 days run, right? Line haul revenue is 735. 98 cents a mile is the average going into California. So your estimated revenue is $8.17 after fuel. But switch this around. Line haul revenue 1922. Look at the fuel cost, 728. Your estimated revenue is 1193 on the same run, the same direct, but just the opposite direction. And so you add the two numbers together. Is that enough? So this would be 4 days running at 753 miles with a little bit of cushion for time, which you needed around LA. Can you survive off that? So if you're doing 1922, what was the other one? 750. So you do the math on that. $19.22 plus what was the other rate? I don't want to generalize here. 735, which I don't think I've ever taken a load less than $1 a mile ever. It's 26.57 for 4 days. Divide that by 4. That's 664 days or a day before fuel and your other costs. That's to the truck. Can you survive on that? There's only 7 days, so you're not going to get like 2 full runs. Well, you might with because essentially it's a day and a half. So if you can close that gap, then can you survive off that 4 or 5 grand a week? And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people can't right now. WCF, forget about home every weekend. How about every day? I'm home nearly every day. It's largely due to an amazing dispatcher in Snorelord. You say too much. I ran Kansas to North Dakota and back all week. Owner op doing great. There you go, Russell. Jose, I deadheaded from Lakeland to Theodore, Alabama, back to Punta Gorda, Florida for 350 mile. There you go. But I'm pulling contract freight owner op. There you go. Also buying my first house today. Well, congratulations. Scott hauls a lot of beef to Phoenix. So these tools are important. And I talk to owner ops all the time that can't afford the tools. That's like being a phone operator and you can't afford your phone line. Right? Now, if you can survive out here without a low board, if you know what you're doing, if you have a platform, and these free low boards, like Truck Smarter, Doft, DOFT, what's the trucker app? Trucker Path. That's where the scammy brokers go. I mean, well, not Truck Smarter. And from a broker standpoint, when you have a TMS or a TMS system that posts to all the low boards, a lot of times you forget that you've posted on 5 different low boards. So when the load's booked, you forget to yank them all off. And so there's a lot of loads that don't even exist that are on that low board. Truck Smarter all the time. But see, Truck Smarter is not going to give you all these tools. And these tools are important if you really truly want to understand your craft. If I want to make knives for a living, I have to understand the craft. If I want to be a metal fabricator, I have to understand the craft. If I want to be a woodworker, I have to understand the craft. If you want to be a great car salesman, you have to understand the craft. This is no different. This is absolutely no different. understanding human nature, understanding the way freight works, understanding what companies and drivers' needs are is vitally important in this industry. And so, if I'm going to become a woodworker, I'm going to want all the tools that I can get my hands on to make anything that I want. But it's important to make the things that people need as well, right? If I just make stuff for decoration, the economy takes a dump. Guess what? I'm not going to sell anything. But if I make a good quality product using all the tools that I have at my disposal that people need, boom, that's how you make money. Any entrepreneur will tell you that. I would love to get into knife forging, but I don't have any tools. I don't even have a grinder. I have a hand grinder, that's it. I don't have a way to heat treat them. I don't have the hammers. I don't have the tools to forge a knife. And once I do, if I ever did do that, well, what am I going to do different that 100 other people with home forges will do? Right? So it might be wasted money to do everything that everybody else is doing. I would have to have love for it, but I would still need the tools to do it. And I would need the resources like money to be able to float that because it would be a hobby, it wouldn't be a career. The only tool I use more than the 123 low board tools is the axle weight tool on the Trucker Tools app. There you go. DIY semi. If I want to be a good fisherman, do I have to understand the crabs? You should always understand the crabs. Always. That's such a silly question. The key to being successful is not blowing your money at truck stops, right? Oh, and this is the season when Love's turns into a toy store. They give Toys R Us a run for their money, which I guess Toys R Us aren't around anymore, but shows you how old I am. Alfalfa's heading to Mass. There you go. So, anyways, let's take a look at this is reefer. So this is your reefer map. Look at the southeast. Holy moly. Ain't nobody wanting food out of there or into there. Look at Georgia light up. But all this area is going to deaden that market. So that's even pointless at that. Idaho and Utah are doing good for reefer. We got a driver running around up there. Of course, these states are always good in the reefer. And when they're not, then you know the market's in trouble. I wonder if DIY would agree with that. So very spotty though. Very so you're going to hit a dead market at one point or another. You just got to deal with it. So let's go to flatbed. Flatbed, you're looking at this area being the dead zone as usual. But then the northwest always seems to be green. The southeast is always green. South Carolina being yellow, that's oddball. Maryland being green out of the so it's probably a port thing. So a lot of stuff coming off the ports for flatbed. And then Minnesota, Michigan, there's probably some imports coming in from Canada. So boy oh boy, the map looks dismal. Cool Truckin' says that. CB, but I deserve that 60-pound Reese's Cup store. Yes. Yes, you do. Do you want your kid to get diabetes at once? Buy that thing, right? Shannon's in Kansas watching a beautiful super sunrise. Heading east, no doubt. She's probably parked, though, hopefully. Um, so, all I'll mention something later about Shannon. It's all up to you, man. Ain't nobody gonna rescue you, right? This isn't the Shan. This is the whole crowd here. Your carrier's not gonna rescue you. You have to rescue yourself. The market ain't gonna rescue you. You're gonna have to just drudge it out, figure it out. And we have a pretty good crew here at Like Trucking that are being successful right now. There's a lot of people on a razor's edge, and you got you know, and January is going to become very interesting. And so you gotta put your things in place and get your mindsets in the right spot right now if you're only surviving, because it's going to change in January. Let's see. Your plan of attack is very important, as in getting into big city, missing the traffic, waiting in the afternoon when the brokers start to pan to get that high paying loads. The 3 o'clock shuffle. Unfortunately, I haven't seen too much of the 3 o'clock shuffle. You have to get really lucky for that. Now, in high volume areas like Ohio or like Columbus, Ohio, or Chicago, Illinois, yeah, you can definitely get that. So, and that's how Fridays are. The Friday 3 o'clock shuffle can be very beneficial. But then if you're wrong, if you don't pick something, you're sitting all weekend, and that's not a good thing. Yes, I'm Park, walking DD and doing pre-trip, getting ready to roll eastbound. Hopefully you got some good sunglasses. So, all right, that's my show for today. 48065. You get the first 30 days free, $35 a month for premium. It's a savings of $10 a month. And if you're over here at Like Trucking, you get that even lower. So, because we take care of our contractors here at Like Trucking as much as we can. So, thanks for the super chats. Greg and WCF Invader, very good supporters. And thanks for everything that you guys do. Let me undo that here. Oops. And other than that, you know, I guess I can't be mad at my dispatch getting $140 a mile going. I just take 200. I'm not sure what you're saying there. I guess I can't be mad at my dispatcher getting $1.40 a mile going. I just take 200. I don't know what that means. So, Chief Freight Hauler says, "Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you." WCF Invader says, "Buy someone buy this guy a steak." Well, if you would ever come through Springfield, you could do that. We'll go to the Brazilian Steakhouse, man. That's a great place. So, anyways, thanks for everybody. Thanks for everything. It's hopefully you had a good week. If not, if you had some hardships, hopefully you learned from them. That's the important part. Is learning from your hardships. I heard some wisdom today that thank you, Snorelord, questioning me very loudly. Thank you, Rig Pig. I heard some good wisdom today that said it's not until you have some confrontation that you have true love. And because that's what the testing, the conflict and the confrontation tests the relationship. And right now you're all being tested in this relationship that you have with trucking. And so if you have love for it, you're going to figure it out. If you don't have love for it, it's not going to be a good day. Sila says he takes 200 a day from that. Oh, okay. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We'll try to do a weekend live. Make sure you tune in to the Retired Truckers podcast tonight at Friday. It's at 8:00 at night. Sometimes I jump on there and we hang out, But and then sometimes I go live on Saturday morning on the small channel, making sure it's in the description. Snorelord OG. I need some more traffic on that channel. I talk about things outside of trucking on that channel. And make sure you like and subscribe. So if you're watching me for the first time. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow, aggression turns the screws. Drink your coffee, take care of yourself, eat a steak, leave the sugar alone, and rise and conquer. Peace.